the show. Hey, how about a drink?
Let's do it.
All right. Hi, Nicole. Welcome.
Hi, Clay. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Always the first question. What are we drinking?
I'm going to do sparkling water today.
Ooh,
this
top
afternoon.
shelf bubbles.
That's right.
All right. Cheers, friend.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for being here. All right. First question. Townie or transplant?
I'm a transplant.
Transplant from where?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
So I moved here in 2015 and then have been kind of travel nursing around the country, in and out of town since then. But Memphis is kind of home.
How often are you on the road?
So initially it was a little more often, about 6 months out of the year. These days I usually am out of town about 3 months out of the year. So
Okay.
it's not too bad. It's not too
And
bad.
it takes you all over?
Yeah, all over, mostly West Coast, but I worked in Texas and the South and
Yeah.
Washington.
How did you land here in 15?
Just decided to move. I was in Memphis. One day I had a wedding out here and I decided to call the hospitals in town, I'm a nurse, and asked for interviews when I was in town for the wedding. So I interviewed, got offers, so I moved out.
Sweet, just like that.
Yeah,
Easy.
easy.
Here for a wedding, I think this is a good
think
place
I'll stay
to land.
here.
It really is a great
Yeah.
place to land. Yeah, where in town are you?
So I'm over on West Side
Nice.
with my husband. So we live in Pleasant Valley, kind
Oh,
of right next to Garden.
yeah.
It's a dream.
It
We
is a
love
dream,
We love
yeah.
it. So.
That's like, it's like winning the lottery
Yeah.
to end up there.
My husband was born and raised here, and when he was 4 years old, he had a soccer game in the park there, and he decided this is the spot. This is where I want to be. So it's really a dream come true for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. My kids went to Halbert. We just
great.
love that
Yeah.
neighborhood.
We love it.
Super special. When did art find you, and then when did you start to pursue it?
So I was always artistic when I was younger, lots of drawing and painting. I was homeschooled, so I had a lot of chance to do art classes that my parents got me into, sculpture, some pottery throwing during high school, middle school. And then a little bit more in high school, I started doing a lot more portrait drawing. I started being really interested in portraiture at that time. But it wasn't until I went to university and got an art minor, that's when I really started being able to learn some painting stuff. So I had an amazing teacher there who kind of adopted me, got me into all the classes that non-art majors probably shouldn't have been able to get into. So that was extremely influential. And then after that, moving here, I had my first show at Machine Shop when Valerie was there, the old Machine Shop. I remember I walked into the lobby, I made a whole PowerPoint to show her like my plan and what I was gonna do. I was like so freaked out, intimidated, because I hadn't done more than just a few pieces at a time. And so I remember she offered me a show spot and I was so freaked out. And I just remember sitting in the car with my husband being like, if I wanna be an artist, if I wanna paint, this is something people would kill for. Like I have to do it, even though I don't know how I'm gonna get it done. So worked, got that show done, and then kind of had a follow-up show at Modbo. Lauren and Brett were there. It's just kind of been on since then.
So that would have been...
That was like 16 and 17, kind of back-to-back shows, 1 year apart. So
still pretty like early on in that movement in the Springs, probably maybe 5 years prior to that. It's kind of when things started to move in a new direction in the Springs as far as art. So it's cool that you got to be part of that early, like,
it was exhilarating.
We're pushing in a new direction.
I was blown away someone would give me a whole show. I just didn't see how that, it seemed like a dream. So.
Did you do, I know at the time they were doing like kind of like a residency type thing?
I didn't end up doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, just the monthly, like the first Friday show. Which was great. I looked into the residency, and then about that time I ended up moving into a studio in Cottonwood, kind of between those two shows, so I got to be there for a little while.
New Cottonwood or old Cottonwood?
New Cottonwood.
Okay.
Yeah, the one on Pikes Peak.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was great. Like John was so supportive there, John Curry, and just a lot of people in this town I feel really supported by, and I got really good feedback and good support. So
it's a good community to belong to. Yeah. So since about 16, 17, you've been actively working, showing, pursuing art.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Different ways, mostly.
Slowly
and more into painting over the years. But,
Your first show was painting, though.
Painting, yeah. So at that point, when I was in college and got my art minor, my oil painting 101 class, the very first time I touched any of it, my amazing professor, he didn't let us use brushes. Like, he's like, you aren't allowed to use brushes. You have to earn them. So palette knives. He's like, unless you know how to control big shapes. So you see kind of where this is going. So that's how I learned how to paint, was with palette knives initially, which is a little bit unusual to start that way. So that's what I did my first show with, or my first 2 shows actually, were palette knife portraits. Which is kind of my initial style earlier. I know some people want me to go back to it, but but I've always had an interest in tighter painting, more realism. So I had my most recent show, which was at Brett's place in Bosque in the alley. I decided I wanted to learn how to paint with brushes. So that full year, I just kind of poured myself into that and figured it out.
And
so,
well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I do like both ends of the spectrum.
I know.
But yeah, crushing, yes. Every artist, so kind of piggybacking on those 2 extremes there of super loose and tightening things up, every artist has a voice. So walk us through first your medium, and then what is it that you're trying to say as an artist? What do you want people to see? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So I am an oil painter. Oil paint, basically ever since I did that 101 class, it's been what I wanted to do and what I loved. I did a little watercolor up to that point, which I did enjoy, but it's a little too unpredictable for me. So oil painting, sometimes palette knife, sometimes brushwork. As far as subject matter, I love portraiture, I love figure. Even when I was in high school doing drawing, that's what I wanted to learn how to do. I just find it just infinitely fascinating. I love the complexity and the color, and it's just never the same either way. And I think a lot of story can be transmitted through the human form and face, especially. Not for any specific reason. All my work has been women. I just like painting women more. It's just what I'm interested in as far as like images and icons of what I'm trying to do. I love using a lot of symbol, which is something I'm kind of getting a little bit more into with the more realism work. My palette knife work was more just traditional portraiture, kind of like sitting portraiture. But I love symbol and story, and sometimes there's some kind of vague ideas or messages I'm playing with. A lot of times I just like putting things together and seeing how they vibrate, like different things in the same frame, and the story that can tell. My show last year was kind of a double purpose. It was part of a master's thesis project for a master's in theology that I got at a college up in Canada. So this is a really unique program, and if you already have experience in a medium, they let you do part of your thesis as a body of work instead of all research. So you still have a research component, but you get to do a little shorter and do a body of work. So this last show was basically based on research I did about images of the Virgin Mary, like how they were used in the church, how she was portrayed, kind of the history of how that developed. So I created my body of work as kind of contemporary repaintings of Mary images. So
I love that.
With varying degrees of kind of looseness. And
it's super special because it's not often that we see those 2 worlds allowed to be a voice in education, at least. You know, if you're doing a show and you're just doing it for an art class, like it has nothing to do with, but that's really cool that they allowed that to be part of
the program.
That's fantastic.
And I think that experience, and just in general the way I'm wired, being like having my nursing career and painting, I feel like because of that I'm always going to have a decent amount of research involved in my work. It's just how I think, and it's how I plan, and I like kind of doing the research and seeing what kind of comes to the top. And some of it, there's more direct lines. Sometimes it's just kind of intuitive, and I don't know why I want to put rabbits in my painting kind of thing.
That's fascinating.
So,
I love that, we talk so often about like what is the draw, and I think last week or the week before, one of the interviews we were talking about how art is that everyone's invited to the table.
Yeah.
You know, and so you as an artist, you can have this meaning, and then some of it is like it's something I don't even know how to put my finger on it, but it's something and it's meaningful and putting it in, and then someone else gets to participate in that meal, and it can mean something different.
Exactly.
It's really a special thing.
And sometimes the audience or the viewer helps me figure out why I put it in. It's not just something that exists in their head. Like, I'll intuitively put something in, and then sometimes a viewer will have a perception or a viewpoint, and then I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I wonder if that was kind of brewing subconsciously or something like that. Like, I don't feel like my work is completed until it's been seen and kind of given back to me in a way, with feedback and people's experience.
Can you, on the spot, but can you give us some, for instances of both symbolism that has become important to you in a piece or pieces, and then also some things that were maybe like intuitive and it's just like, this has to be here, and then someone else like, oh, this is what it is.
So a few things that come to mind. As I talk, it might kind of come together a little bit, but for whatever reason, and this is still something I'm trying to work out, I love putting halos in pieces. Like, I feel like every piece I'm like, should I put a halo on it? Like, and usually the answer is like, maybe. Sometimes it's more abstract. It's not like just kind of a gold ring. Sometimes it's like an item in the background or some kind of interesting, or like I have one where there's like birds kind of flying around. So for some reason that motif is really interesting to me, and I have a few little inklings about it. I'm not quite sure exactly why I can't get it out of my system. And maybe one day I'll do one and be like, that's the last one, but we're not there yet. So, but I remember one piece that I did for my show. I always, like, I was this image. There's kind of a woman on a couch reclining. And pretty early on, I just wanted rabbits, like, on the floor.
I love that piece.
Kind of around. And again, humans are so good at meaning making. I'm not going to claim that, like, it was in my subconscious. Like, I think a lot of it is making meaning backwards. But it kind of became a symbol within the narrative of the piece of resurrection, which rabbits are, like, a symbol of kind of hope and rebirth and springtime and Easter and all that. So again, probably more meaning making in reverse, but at the same time, I wanted them there before I knew why I wanted them there or what the story was. So yeah, I love that. I love doing things and I don't know why. If everything's too planned out and clear cut and like A equals B symbolism, I don't find that interesting. It can be a little bit heavy-handed, I think, and a bit, just a bit forced if there's no mystery to it.
That's the word. And that's what I kind of go back to all the time. It's like, for artists, like, we need, like, voice is important. It's like fingerprints, you know, it's so important. And I want to feel like we have the same conversation every single time. But it's like, as an artist, you want people to walk in, and if you have a collection, you're like, oh, that's Nicole. Like without doubt, this is, you know, you want people to know. But often, even in our attempt to make meaning of things or whatever, sometimes we can overcorrect and force it.
This is my thing, so I'm going to keep doing that.
We push a little too hard to make something tell a story that it can just be a thing. One of the rabbits I love, but Smoke Break, one of my all-time favorite
so fun.
pieces. I think I told you first time my mother was here. She hadn't been here. She hadn't seen any art. She walked through, and you're like right there in the gallery. So she turned the corner and she saw that piece, and she's like, I remember those days. Like, she felt it so hard. And it's like the bear was all of us boys for her. And it's just like,
she's
just
frazzled,
like
just
barely getting through. Like, it was really,
I love that.
really
and you just never know what people are going to connect with. Because honestly, painting that, I wouldn't probably assume your mother was my target audience. You know, but you just never know what someone's going to be drawn to or who you're painting for. So in that way, you can't control it. Like, I can try to target a piece, and it's probably going to miss, and someone else is going to love it. So you just got to do what you want to do.
Just got to do it. What and or who inspires you as an artist?
That's such a good question. Of course, there are painters who are amazing, and these, very successful people I don't know who inspire me in a sense. But I think the biggest inspirations for me are people who were more in my life, who were creating either alongside me or before me. I mentioned a few teachers I had. My teacher at Mississippi State, where I went to college and got my art minor, his name's Brent Funderburk, which is the coolest name. He is an amazing watercolorist, like world-renowned watercolorist, and really unique the way he paints very high contrast, extremely darks with watercolor, which is a little bit unusual.
Yep.
No washes, just very vibrant jewel tones. And so I think he just his support and his teaching and, again, oil painting 101, not only did we have to start with a palette knife, he only let us paint toilet paper rolls. So like very simple. He's like, just paint a cylinder with this knife, black and white, and just learning those foundations of composition and of big shapes was amazing. And then just more kind of the last few years, there's the people in town who have been so supportive of me and my career. Valerie giving me my first show. I can't speak enough about how Brett Andrus, he's a great friend of mine too, but his influences, I've done workshops with him. I wouldn't be painting anywhere, especially how I'm painting now, probably in general if it weren't for him.
Yeah.
Doriel Kamey in Santa Fe has been a great teacher, and just all these people who have just been huge. Aside from that, there's an organization here in town called the Anselm Society, which is like an arts and faith organization that I'm pretty heavily involved in. Writers, painters, poets, and that has been huge. When I was doing my show, whenever that was, a year or two ago, and painting for a full year, just kind of, it's by yourself. It's very solitary. I think that's one thing non-artists don't understand is how lonely it can be, just painting for a show a year out with no one seeing or caring. But I was able to take my pieces to this group once a month and just get feedback and encouragement, and it was just life-changing during that year of painting. So all those people, I just love.
Bringing up Brett, these camps that emerge from teachers, as kids you grow up and you have a friend or whatever, and everyone's talking the same.
Yes.
It's you just kind of
Brett is in everyone's lineage. You look back far enough and there's all these Lauren and Becca and Shannon and
you see a thread through, even though everyone has their signature, there's this thread, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Just a very generous teacher.
Yeah.
Very generous.
How does art affect other parts of your life?
I feel like it does. It does and it doesn't, in the sense that I struggle with having to kind of compartmentalize my life a bit as far as nursing and art. And some people are so good at this, Clay. I know some people, I'm just in awe, artists who they mural and they're a nurse and this, I'm so in awe of that. I really struggle to do both at the same time for some reason. So even at this point in my life and career, kind of trying to figure out the rhythms that work for me with that, whether I should, do bigger chunks of time on and then off. Travel nursing can work with that. But in some sense, I almost have to switch brains, I feel like. I kind of have to turn on and off in a weird kind of way.
Yep.
So that's still kind of a TBD, learning thing.
Yeah.
But that being said, in some ways, everything in my life is also artistic. The way my husband and I view our home and the way that we renovated it is clearly influenced by it. My faith influences my art, and my art influences my faith. It's how I think. It's how I think through ideas that are bugging me about religion and things like that. I think in images. It's kind of a first language. So that's kind of where I'm heading some with my next work a little bit, is having a little more freedom outside of my thesis show. I'm kind of starting to think about what I'm thinking about and how that might be thought out visually for me. So in a sense, everything, and then also sometimes not a lot during certain phases. So
I know last year, I think as artists, we all find ourselves in these places of feeling a little stuck. In the last year you felt that a little bit with painting specifically. But I love where you're at now, and this exploration and discovery and push that you're in. I'm really excited about
I just got
show.
out of my year-long funk, which is a really negative way to put it. I was telling the friends of mine at that Anselm Society about like, I just haven't painted in a year. I'm never going to paint again. Like this is horrible. And one of them was so kind. She's just like, I had a show about a year ago. She's like, Nicole, you just birthed a baby. Take a rest. Like this idea that
it's really
she's
good.
Some people can just keep producing. Like Brett, for example, like bless his heart. He can just paint 16 hours a day for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But most of us can't do that. And knowing how to take rests and
most
not
of us
freak
can't,
out.
and most of us aren't allowed.
Yes. Yeah. So finding ways to rest and heal without shame of not creating, I think is huge for me.
Yep.
Taking the rest willingly and joyfully instead of kind of fighting
really, really good words.
Yeah.
Because we can tend to beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, I reached the top and I'm never going to get better than that. Or like I've fallen into like, I just don't have any good ideas anymore. Like it just spirals. Yeah. So.
And even if it's the same thing, like I finished that show, you fall in the show hole. I'm never going to paint again. I used all my ideas. Never going to have an original thought again. And then eventually you do have ideas and you do, but then you forget that happened and it just happens again. Like we just have trouble learning that like you will recover. It just takes time and inputting more good things back in.
Yeah.
Reading books I want to read, watching films I want to see, getting outside. You got to put stuff in to get stuff out.
Yeah,
so.
It's good. It's good. That's why I love this space. To be around other people that are in it, and are doing it. And it's just this constant, like, even if you're a little bit of a funk, talking to someone else and, they inspire you and get you out of it.
Encouraging.
And then it also is, years ago, I did a lot of marriage counseling and I loved it. Because I just thought it was so comical. Yeah. It's just, because we're all
it's
just.
the same thing over and over.
No, it's like we're all, it's just comical, know?
Yeah.
And in the same way, like you walk to someone's studio and they're just.
Lying on the floor, like having
they're
a mouth.
overthinking things. They can't get out of their head. I messed this up. This isn't good. Blah, blah, blah. Last one. I'm never going to, whatever it is. Like this. So then it just becomes an equal amount of comic relief and encouragement, just mutually benefit one another in that way.
And it helps them because they kind of see themselves through your eyes and they're like, okay, this is kind of dramatic. Like, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it is helpful.
That's awesome. Love it. What is your favorite and your least favorite part of the creative process?
I love painting. There's moments that are hard, but just the magic. It's not always magic. A lot of times it's just doing the work.
Yep.
For sure. But then there's other moments where like I'll paint something and it's like that leg or that hand. I'll look at now, I'm like, I don't know how I did that. Like I couldn't do it again if I tried. And I love that. Where you're just in the zone, you're listening to an audiobook or something and you finally emerge and there's something there that like you just got in the zone and lost where you were and you just did it. And I just love that magic of like the unexpected. Even though I work from photographs, it's not just rendering. It's not like, well, you learn how to do it and then you just copy. And there's still so much magic and how you're seeing it and unexpected things of how you're translating it over. That's just it never gets old.
Yeah.
It's like an epiphany every time. It's just amazing. I love it. As far as what I don't like, this is no one who works like close with me on my process will be surprised. I despise getting reference photos, clay. It's the biggest bottleneck in my process. Like I'll have 3 painting ideas and I'm just dreading getting models and shooting photos. I don't know what it is. And I think, I don't know if it's just the fear of like, there's no way I can get what's in my head, like communicated out. Yeah. I'm not great with word communication for some of that stuff. Like even when I'm explaining my painting ideas, people are like, what? And I'm like, you just have to see it.
Yeah.
It's just not how I think and communicate. And so whenever I have these photo shoots, I'm just a nervous wreck. And like, luckily I've learned.
Because you have to be a director.
Yeah. I've learned over the years, things that help is I hire a photographer. I don't take my own photos,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Yep.
And then I have people like my husband who's very good at logistics. I just had a photo shoot where I had to have like a torch, like a flaming torch situation, and he was like fire handler. I was like, can't even deal with that. Like, I can't even figure out how to make this safe. I need you to do that. So I
Teamwork,
pull him
baby.
into a lot of it, which is great. So then all I have to do is kind of flit around and adjust things, and the photographer does their thing, and that is very helpful. But I think trying to do it all myself with the camera, I don't know what it is. It's just this huge stressful thing. So I think over the years it's gonna, hopefully I'll learn that it works out. It's gonna be fine. My photos turned out great. It always does. It's just always gonna be like the part of the process that I get stuck at.
Yep.
And as soon as I have photos, I'm like off to the races. So,
yeah. What do you feel are the main roadblocks for being an artist?
In the world, like
Maybe in general, and then specifically in our locale.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's so interesting because in many ways our city is so unique in the support and the opportunities, especially for new artists. Like, there's no way I could walk into a gallery in Denver with next to no work and be like, look at my PowerPoint, can I do a show? It's, you know, the opportunities here of allowing people to kind of have a chance are huge. And I don't know if there's a lot of places that are like it. That being said, I know a lot of artists who, because of the size of the city and demographics, they have opportunities to show, but it's really hard to jump the hurdle into sales, just because of the economy and the way just our city is. It's almost like the art scene is like an art scene of a bigger city, and yet we're not a bigger city. So sometimes the collector base isn't there. And not that art making is all about sales and money, but I do think there's kind of like for people who want to transition full-time, it can be kind of a hard hurdle. Yeah. And a lot of us, because of that, can't transition full-time. You know, we have other jobs, like even like Brett does mortgages, and he's fairly successful. So I think that's a maybe specific little hurdle, but just in general, I think we all have our own baggage about being an artist, and as many people as you talk to, there's different answers as far as maybe how their family talked about it when they were growing up, or their education or lack of education, support in their life or not support. And it's just a career or vocation that a lot of people outside of the art world don't understand, even though a lot of them appreciate it. There's not a lot of kind of cultural understanding about the artist's life, I guess. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. I think that's really, I think some help in that area would be welcomed by all. Just because I do think that there's a very huge breakdown between, like, if you're an artist, you're either like selling out shows and you're the most sought after thing in the world, you're that, or it's cute. You know, it's like, oh, that's a nice hobby. Even
people I know who are incredibly good, so to speak, kind of still have that spoken over them in a way that is hard to get out of your head if you hear that a lot. And I think because of that, there's a lot of pressure to have that influence the kind of art you make, what you want to do. And this is something I've kind of come to terms with, which luckily I'm lucky in that I have another career, so I don't need to make money with my art, which is such a gift. But then I have people in my life who, even when I have the show I had last year, the first thing they ask is, well, how many paintings did you sell? And that can kind of wear you down. Just because the kind of art I make, it's not like living room decorative art for everybody, unless you have a very kind of contemporary, weird art collection house. No one's going to kind of put it over their dining room table. So I don't plan to sell. It's a great gift if it happens when it does. But it's always, there's that temptation of like, maybe I should do some landscapes. Maybe I should paint the mountains. How about some florals? Not because I want to, but because I could probably sell them a little easier. And you just have to have a really strong sense of what you're interested in, the message, the voice that you have that you want to And if you're an artist who needs to sell, then like obviously be smart about it.
Yep.
Find a way, like maybe that is the answer for you. But I think really not letting yourself get jerked around by the market side of it.
I think that's really powerful,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think there is anything wrong with trying to be a little commercial.
Mm-hmm.
However, if that means if it means forsaking your voice,
Yeah.
then there's no guarantee in a floral or a
Yeah.
landscape
Oh, exactly.
either.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe one of the toughest things in our city, where we've seen this huge spike in the art community, both
Yeah.
with what is accepted, what's championed,
Mm-hmm.
what's really celebrated, whether it's contemporary abstract
Mm-hmm.
or experimental things. Like we have these people like Abby and Gundy and
Yeah.
Valerie that have like really like paved
Yeah.
the way for something new and exciting and current and
Yeah. Not just Western art, which can be
Right.
amazing.
It can.
But that used to be the only flavor
it
of
was
town.
the stamp.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. That was the flavor, that was it. And so when you have a community our size, but in Colorado Springs is wonderful and it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And one of the weird things is how many towns this town is.
Yeah.
And so the cultural side of this town is very, very small.
Yeah.
And so the vast majority of people that live here would be like, wait, there's art in Colorado Springs? Where?
Yeah.
I've never,
Right. Yeah.
So
You have to know the secret handshake to get to First Friday. It's like you got to kind of have someone take you
Yes,
almost the first
yes,
time.
yes,
You're not just going to
yes.
run across it.
Yes, yes. Secret. Okay, so for you guys watching, give everyone the secret handshake and get them
Do
to
it.
First Fridays. Yes. Do you want to give us a little a teaser about where you're going next year before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so just a little bit. It's pretty new, still kind of brewing, but I have a show next fall at Surface Gallery with Valerie, which I'm very
Yep.
excited about. And doing some work kind of similar vein of what I've done before, figure, portrait, symbol, a little more like traditional kind of Renaissance compositions. But I'm looking at a lot of like Greek and Roman mythology,
Love it.
kind of specifically women, and just kind of seeing what I can tease out about my experience as a woman specifically in the United States at this time
Yep.
in relation to some of these images and icons that we're very familiar with. Like
Yep.
a lot of these images are powerful. It's the same with like the Virgin Mary. It's a powerful image because everyone knows it when they see it.
Sure.
And a lot of these Greek and Roman
Yeah.
figures are the same way. So I'm kind of finding a way to look at those a bit more contemporary as well. So
I'm very excited.
probably going to put halos on everybody, but we'll see.
No one's gonna be mad about
No one's
that.
gonna be
I love
mad.
it. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, I'm going to
All
play
right.
with gold leaf some more. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Well, friend, fun talking
Yes.
to you always.
You as too.
Now's the time that you turn to the video people
Okay.
and tell them who you are and where
Yes.
they can find you.
All right.
Yeah.
So my name is Nicole Beck. I'm oil painter here in Colorado Springs. My website is NicoleBeckStudio.com. My Instagram is the same. And I am here at the Lookup Gallery in my 10 by 4 foot slot all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cheers, friend.
thanks, Clay.
We did it.
So fun.